I love Ace Combat. Ace Combat was my very first video game outside of Star Wars Starfighter and Jak and Daxter. It was one of my very first purchased games that I gotten when I got my PS2. I remember getting it at at my local Costco when me and my family went shopping for a new TV. When back in the day, Costco still sell video games, and I saw this. I was allowed to pick only one game. I could either pick Transformers the video game or this arcade flight sim called Ace Combat 4, from Project Aces and Bandai Namco. And my brother, my older brother, recommended that I get Ace Combat 4 because fighter planes. So I said, okay, why not? So we thought it was multiplayer, but it was single player. But in a weird way, I got it kind of was because man, the single player, the story of Ace Combat 4 was absolutely amazing. A very personal story, right? And I absolutely fell in love with the soundtrack and the story of 4. It was definitely a game that I replayed over and over and over and over and over again. Just pop the soundtrack over and over and over again because it's just so amazing. Like I still remember what was it? The missions like Lifeline, where you take out all the targets and then you see Yellow Squadron, and you have to flee south immediately because AWACS tell you to fly south immediately. And then there was Deep Strike, where you were told to take out a solar panel place thing, and then you take it out, and then you get this mission brief, mid mission brief from Sky Eye, and he tells you that Stonehenge has fired, and you have to get below 5,000 feet. And it was just like, well, what the hell? And then there was the satellite launch level. I forgot the name of that level, but seeing all these fire planes, it felt so much like Star Wars with fire planes. I was like, yo, this is awesome. What? And then seeing the mission to go after Stonehenge, and then Megalith. Megalith was, wow. You talk about stress, dear Lord. Little did I know, tunnels was gonna be like a mainline thing in every Ace Combat game following 4. I don't know if 2 and 3 had final tunnel missions, but man, I died so many times. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. But after playing 4, I just became a fan of Ace Combat. I bought Ace Combat 5. I bought Ace Combat 0. I missed out on 6 because I didn't know it was an exclusive, and that broke my heart. And then the boneheaded moment that I had, I bought an Xbox 360, but I didn't know. I totally forgot that Ace Combat 6 was on that. I was like, oh damn, I should have just ordered it on Amazon, but oh well, right? And then Ace Combat 7 was announced. And I was like, ooh, where are we going next? Where are we going next? Where are we going next? And then you hear the radio announcer saying that the Ocean Federation declared, the Kingdom of Rouge declared war on the Ocean Federation. I was like, yo, what? We're gonna get we're gonna get Osea versus Eurasia? This is insane. And then you hear the Daredevil sound, the Daredevil score from Keiki Kobayashi, and I'm just like, bruh, they're going so hard with this, and I was like, oh my god, like I was just like, yo, this is awesome, right? And if you play Ace Combat 7, you would know there's a lot of references to Ace Combat 4, and it was this memory lane for me, like, oh my god, this is awesome, right? Um, and so when Project Ace is announced on socials that, hey, we're preparing for the future. We're in the process of making the next game. I'm like, okay, great. We're not going to see it until the announcement until 2026. Boy, was I wrong. Man, the Game Awards was busy last night, but man, I was only there for like maybe 1 or 2 things, but I didn't expect Project Aces and Bandai Namco to drop a trailer for Ace Combat right then and there. And so yeah, let's just watch the trailer and see what we're dealing with here.
Take a look.
What?
a sight to behold. Whew, it's all over. The last lands of the FCU, the Federation of Central Usia.
First of all, thank you for joining us on this ship.
Hello there, my dear newcomer. You are very lucky, you know.
Yes, we are critically undermanned on this ship.
Don't worry at all. The man in front
A very lively ship.
the Wings of Theve. You're riding
Wings of
shotgun
Theve,
with the
okay.
legendary Ace of Aces.
He's a mass delusion fabricated by the rumor mill of social media.
Ooh, another.
It's the shadows.
Our lone target is Wings.
All dogs fire. Time to pull out, 22.
Roger that.
God damn it. Start swimming, soldier. Make it home alive.
Let's keep at it, Rex.
Ray, heads up!
On your orders, Rex.
To keep hope alive, Wings of Theve must stay on the mission. Must fly on.
I can make up your kill count to be whatever. Right. From now on, you'll be the greatest ace pilot this war will ever know.
You have to listen to the dialogue because the dialogue is so important. But it seems that this is like an Ace Combat 4 scenario, only 10 times worse. And coming 2026. Wow, this game is coming out next year. Wow, they were really hard at work. They probably started working on it as soon as they dropped the last the extra DLCs for the story DLCs for 7. All right, so there's a lot. There was information that dropped after hours after the trailer. So let's go over it, right? So this game is releasing in 2026. It's probably going to be a summer release. I hope it's a summer and spring release because winter is still dealing with Resident Evil 9, and then I don't know if Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to stick to 2026, so everybody's on edge with that beast. But yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be single and multiplayer. Hopefully, and apparently people are saying that it's gonna be co-op too, so that's gonna be very interesting to see. To see if the co-op. I hope the co-op story is different. That kind of plays a part into the mainland story. But if it's co-op by default, or not co-op by default, but like if the co-op side shares the story, then I'm very curious to see how that all works out, right? But anyways, you're a fighter pilot adrift at sea in a rescue boat until the outdated aircraft carrier Endurance pulls you aboard. Your homeland's navy is shattered. The aging vessel is decks crowded with refugees has already retreated far from the front from the front lines. July 2029. The Federation of Central Usia has fallen under a lightning invasion by the Republic of Sotoa. Most of the nation is occupied, the military is scattered, and the Endurance is just one fragment of what remains. On this shop, you're given a single name, Wings of Theve, a legendary ace, a symbol of hope, a name tied to Theve, the FCU capital. FCU capital. But that legend was a lie. It was a story made to keep morale alive. Now you must carry that name and take to the skies again. With 3 new comrades at your side, fight to reclaim your lost homeland. So this seems to be a combination of Ace Combat 4 and 6, if you know the plot of Ace Combat 4 and 6. But it seems that now, so this game takes place in 2029. So this takes place 10 years after Ace Combat 7. So the Lightning House War was already over with. So I'm going to kind of spoil the Lightning House War a bit because I know people are going to have questions and whatnot. And I hope the game kind of answers that question too. But at the end of the Lightning House War between Osea and Eurasia, they fired missiles at each other to the point of, well, they never really fired missiles at each other. They fired missiles at their own satellites, apparently. And satellite communication went down across the globe. And Eurasia lost hold over all their territory they captured, and you have these smaller satellite city-states that came under their that were under their thumb, starting new nations and fighting against each other and so on and so forth. And from what the Ace Combat community is saying, or the real lorists behind, everyone's kind of theorizing that the events of Ace Combat 3 is already happening, or at least the roadmap, the road to Ace Combat 3 is starting, right? Which is why we're on a whole separate continent entirely. So I suspect by the time Ace Combat 8 ends, will be around the year 2040, which Ace Combat 3 begins. I cannot see them do another game unless they do a DLC. That's really it, or they do a massive time jump, because man, they would have to quickly release another game and then do the Ace Combat 3 remake. So a bit of a background, right, for the new people in the Ace Combat series. Ace Combat 3 had two versions of the game. You had the Western version, which was like an arcade, which is your typical arcade, first level, second level, so on and so forth, with minimum storytelling, I believe. But Ace Combat, but the JP version, the JP version had it had a lot. It had a lot more. Let me tell you, it had cutscenes from the Ghost of the Shell studio. It had branching path choices and a whole bunch of character and just wow, it was really nuts. So it would be very interesting to see how they deal with Electrosphere, because Electrosphere was it was something. I really hope they don't abandon the future aspect and just say, oh yeah, it's just still modern stuff, but maybe with slightly abundant more technology. Now you gotta go full blown tech. You have to full blown replicate with what's going on, because we're going to space now, and Ace Combat 3 had a space level, so imagine playing Ace Combat 3 remake and none of and it's like, oh, okay, this is supposed to be the future, right? Well, why is everything still looking modern, right? So it's gonna be very interesting to see how they do the Electrosphere remake. So and it seems that this guy here, the social media rep, he was talking about like the power of social media and whatnot. Maybe it wasn't him that was saying it, but it sounded like there is going to be a system that is the same as what we saw in Ace Combat Zero. In Ace Combat Zero, there was the I don't know how to say it, but I'm gonna call uh uh the infamy uh uh the reputation system. There we go. The reputation system. And depending upon your actions throughout the Balkan War, you get a choice of being a mercenary, or the view of the eyes of the other pilots, both on allied and enemy, mercenary, soldier, and knight, right? And it was a very complex game too. And I say complex because it's like, man, we jumped from a simple arcade shooter to like branching choices that you can do during missions and whatnot. And the fighter pilots changed based upon your ranking in Ace Combat Zero. So, which by the way we played on stream. That was fun for the most part until we kind of had like a bug out final level, which was very disappointing because Zero was an awesome soundtrack. But what I want to draw attention to, well, not just this image, but what is said right here. So, beyond the chaos in the air, breathtaking first-person scenes reveal your pilot's story through breathtaking cinematics. Experience the pressure of command, the weight of decisions, and the bonds forged in battle. Between missions, bond with your squad members, rise to meet adversity, and prove yourself as a true ace. So, it seems that we get to have the ability to walk around the aircraft for the very first time. In the Ace Combat series, we never had this option. Never. It was always the briefing, the battle map, the menu. You have your aircraft option where you can like tune your aircraft or buy more aircraft or whatever, buy and sell parts and all that shit. But we never had the ability to go around the ship. So it seems that they are bringing in they're bringing back the branching narratives. That was kind of used. Well, that was used in Ace Combat Zero, but not really in the same way. It's just like, oh hey, we're bringing back uh a series of RPG mechanics that are from Ace Combat 0 and harken back to the Ace Combat 3 with all the narrative choices that you make throughout that game. So it seems that you really get to put yourself out there as commander. I remember Ace Combat 5 when you become the leader of the squad. You had the infamous yes and no option, and you still go about the game, and it's like, man, can you imagine having like a branching path of, having to, instead of just going from point A to point B, like, oh, what if you said no on this one mission? And it said, yeah, remember what happened last mission? Yeah, you're gonna FAFO, right? And so it's gonna be very interesting to see how many. I hope it's only one ending, but it seems that we get to see like say for example, whatever choices you make, this co-pilot here might be your best friend, but then this wingman here might be your best friend, but then this wingman here might resent you for making stupid boneheaded decisions, right? And I know there's also a female pilot too, so we get at least 3, so a full squad. And it looks like we get to customize their planes too. Maybe Ace Combat 5 had this where you can select the planes for your squadron. So wow, they're really trying something here. Because as much as I appreciate Ace Combat 7's cutscenes, they were classic Ace Combat. Oh, they remind me of Ace Combat 4, where it was just like, no, I shouldn't say Ace Combat 4. It really, it was a very disjointed story that had no real focus, and it's just like, man, now that I think about it. But then the DLC stories kind of make it up for it by asking the question, right? What if the main pilot dies, right? What happens in the fair, like, what happens if 3 strikes what happens if the hero dies during the war? What happens when the war shift in the enemy's favor? Like, what's going on here, right? And so they're kind of bringing that question back from the DLC trailer. You have to watch the DLC trailer, but they're bringing that. It seems to me that they're bringing that question here because you're not the pilot yet. You're the guy that you went down in the final moments of the trailer. That was your pilot, and now you have to put on this ruse, right? That oh yeah, I'm a great pilot. And I suspect that you're gonna get sold. You're gonna get found out that you're not who you say you are, and or whatever. This here is gonna be so damn interesting. This whole thing right here. This thing right here where it's gonna be so interesting. I really hope they're not just saying that and then nothing comes of it, because what we have here is a really good opportunity to like really get people prepared for Electrosphere, because Electrosphere it's gonna be a very massive game. It's gonna be a very massive game when they remake it, because of the narratives and the choice making you do in that game that really defines your the overall story of Electrosphere. So yeah, 2026 is gonna be an interesting year. Again, as a reminder, we will be playing through the rest of the Ace Combat series. We still got to get through Shadow Colossus and Deus Ex. The first Deus Ex game. And then when we figure out the release date for Ace Combat 8, then we'll start playing through, we'll play Ace Combat 5 next, and then we'll try our best to play Ace Combat 6, but I cannot guarantee you I can get the cutscenes to work properly. So we're gonna try our best to get through, Ace Combat 6, and then of course play Ace Combat 7. And then, yeah, if you enjoyed this, reaction, to Ace Combat 8, Wings of Theve, then leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you enjoyed this for this reaction. Check out the other reaction trailers that the trailer reactions that I do here, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.